Hey guys, Timothy Roberts here. In this video, I want to talk about a very cool project I've been working on for months, and it is the Dave King flat ride sound. So the cool thing about this project is I actually have Dave's flat ride that he's used on a bunch of recordings and a bunch of live gigs in the shop. This is it right here. I met Dave earlier this year when he came to Winston and played with Julian Lage. And then he came a few months after that with the Bad Plus. I got to chat with him, got to know him a little bit. He's a fantastic person, really kind person. And he was gracious enough to let me borrow his flat ride so that I could make some tributes to it. So when I make cymbals that are meant to aim at a certain specific sound, I don't ever call them clones because, as you'll see in just a minute, it's impossible to perfectly clone any cymbal. So for me, I like to say that I make cymbals inspired by a certain sound. And within that is just the reality that it's going to be my own take on that sound, and there's going to be differences in the sounds. But the goal is to aim at the same vibe, get the same feeling from the cymbal, and have it inspire you in a similar way. So in front of me I have 4 original flat rides, 3 of which are completely finished. 1 is very much in process, and I'm really happy with how these turned out. The thing about this flat ride right here is it is incredibly thin. It is 1,675 grams for a 20-inch. It is a Zildjian light flat ride. It has big old machine hammering marks. It's lathed pretty smooth. It doesn't have very deep lathe grooves, and it's got a crazy taper towards the edge. It's wildly thin. You can bend it. It has this really explosive crash, which flat rides don't typically have a good crash, but this one has an unbelievable crash sound. But because of the way that it's shaped, it has this very strong curvature starting around here on the cymbal towards the edge, and that there's no soft spots in it, so that curvature is giving it really nice stick definition. It flattens off up at the top, but there's no weird hums or tones coming from it. It's got a little bit, but the little bit that it has is really beneficial to the sound. It really feeds the overall cymbal in a nice way. So this cymbal is an amazing cymbal. It's a cymbal that I've listened to on a bunch of recordings and have always wanted to know what it was, and now I got the chance to actually have it in my shop and use it to replicate on some other cymbals. So let's listen to this thing, let's see what it sounds like, and then I'll show you guys my take on the Dave King flat ride sound. All right, so as you can see, it's a really cool cymbal. I'm sad I have to give it back, but I now feel like I have the method to make my version of this sound. This sound is actually also the sound of the Bill Stewart flat ride. he has, I don't know if he has like a 22, like it seems like his might be a little bit bigger, but his is also, I think, a light, a K, excuse me, a K light flat ride, and it's also paper thin. So the weight that it has and the taper that it has is really why you're getting that amazing crash. Most flat rides that are heavier, if they're, kind of 1900 grams and higher for a 20-inch, they're going to feel clunky, and they're going to feel like you're hitting a hunk of metal that doesn't really sustain all that much. This one doesn't sustain a lot, but it does give you this quick, aggressive crash that comes out pretty fast, and it feels really nice to play. It's like it's got an amazing feel under the stick. So now let's listen to my take on this cymbal sound. I've got, like I said, a 20, 21, 22 that are finished. The 20-inch is thinner than the original, the one I'm aiming at. It has, I think it's down around like 1,640 grams, so it's got a lower pitch. It doesn't have quite the aggressiveness in the crash that this one does, but that being said, as the cymbal ages and the metal starts to harden, it's going to get there. It'll get to a point where it has a bit more high frequency cut, a bit more stick definition, but I'm very happy with this. This is about as close as I can possibly get to aiming at this sound. The 21 and the 22 have a little bit of a different vibe because obviously the bigger diameter is going to drop that pitch lower, and I did some different processes at the end that kind of were a deviation from the original. I got some pin lathing stuff on top, and it's got a much lower, growlier crash, much less piercing, but still really fun to play. So let's listen to my take on the Dave King flat ride sound. All right, so those are the cymbals that are finished. They've been finished for a couple months now, and I want to show you now this one over here. This one was literally hammered on the exact same day that I shot the demo clip. So it's very dry, it's very choked, but it is relatively in the same zone that the other ones are. So this is just going to show how much resting affects the sound of the cymbal. So it really needs time to open up after you've hammered it, after you've worked on it, so that the high-end frequencies and the shimmer can come in to the sound. Right now it feels pretty dry and dead and a little clunky, but what will happen is over the course of weeks and months, it'll really start to open up, and there's going to be a ton more life in the cymbal. So let's check out that cymbal now. All right, that's it. That is the Dave King flat ride sound. Please drop a comment below and let me know what you think. Do you think that I nailed this sound, or do you think it needs a little bit more work? I'm going to be offering these cymbals on my shop. I might make this sort of a standard option that I have. This is the these would fall into the Labyrinth series that I make, which the Labyrinth series was originally designed to aim at the Bill Stewart ride sound. And so anytime I've made a flat ride that I'm aiming at that sound, it's very much like these. So this would fall under the Labyrinth series. I'm not going to call it the Dave King series or whatever. This is just still going to be in that series, but they're going to be really thin, paper thin flat rides. And I just love this sound. I usually don't love paper thin cymbals, but with flat rides, no bell, you have that added clarity in your stick definition, and so it gives you more room to go thinner with the cymbal and still retain stick. But then the benefit of going thinner, as I discussed before, is that you just have so much more of a crash sound for your flat ride. So enough talk, drop a comment, hit the subscribe button and the bell if you want notifications, and keep an eye out for the next video. I'm Timothy Roberts. Thanks so much for watching.